With the return of Illidan, Stormrage, and Legion, a lot of people are glad that such an awesome character has been brought back into the fold, but a lot of people are also annoyed that he hasn't got a single ounce of interaction with his brother or the love of his life. I mean, what the hell, man? They were all so heavily intertwined with each other in the events of the War of the Ancients dating back thousands of years ago and throughout the events of Warcraft 3, so where the hell are they? They have fought through hell and back, mustered through thick and thin, but ultimately, their bond with each other has sustained them throughout the years, so why haven't we seen them together at all in Legion? Well, Tyrande at least was present during the Siege of Nighthold, and Malfurion, after the events of Xavius and the Emerald Nightmare, was busy, Did we learn nothing from the Burning Crusade? There was no interaction between Tyrande and Malfurion and Illidan during the Burning Crusade, well, because Malfurion was in a coma for quite a while, disabling him from returning with his brother to Outland. But now is the perfect opportunity. We see Malfurion get off his ass in the Emerald Nightmare and the events that unfold in Val'sharah, so why can't he take a quick flight path to Argus just to exchange some dialogue with his brother who, even though they have an on and off relationship, clearly care for one another? Because at the end of the day, they are still in fact brothers despite everything that they have endured throughout the years that they have known each other. Will the three ever reunite again? Well, spoilers here guys in case you didn't see the message in the intro, but in case you guys don't want spoilers at all, you might want to go on and hop on off this video at this moment. But through data mined information released on Wowhead, we learned that there is actually going to be some sort of dialogue between Illidan and Malfurion and Tyrande. Although they won't be speaking directly with one another, Illidan at least will be giving us a crystal to return to Azeroth with to give unto Malfurion and Tyrande. Now, why is Illidan giving us a crystal and not going back himself? Because the leaked information about the ending of Legion is pretty much true. Illidan and the Pantheon together will trap Sargeras in a form of stasis, ultimately ending the Legion threat. Cruel of Blizzard to bring back Illidan after all these years, only to tear him away from us, but his actions truly have redeemed himself 1,000 times over in the eyes of his people. Keep in mind, I said in the eyes of his people because I personally think that a lot of the majority of the stuff that he did, although they were radical stuff, they were ultimately justified in the grounds of which he was trying to achieve. Now, here's what Illidan says upon the closing event. This one's directed to Malfurion.
Malfurion. Even in the womb, we grappled with one another. Struggle has followed us all our lives. The teachings of Cenarius were always your path. I felt another calling. It was power I sought, but not to conquer or rule. It was a means to an end. To save Azeroth from an unstoppable foe. You never trusted my intentions, though I suppose I did not make it easy for you. But now, as my fate becomes clear, I wish to quiet the strife that has long divided us. Even when the Legion is gone, new threats will arise. There is no one I trust to face them. More than you, brother. You have spent a lifetime fighting for the dream of what Azeroth could be. Now you must fight for what it is. Take care of Tyrande. Listen to her counsel. She was always the best of us. The road ahead will be long. Whatever comes, bring honor to the name. Stormrage.
My brother made selfish choices, caused pain to so many. His transgressions are difficult to forgive, and yet there were times when we fought for a common cause, a shared purpose. Those were good days, and now is not the time to ponder personal regrets. We must see to healing the world, champion. The soul of our world is in agony.
I honestly wanted Malfurion to have more closure with his brother after seeing now that what Illidan did after all of these millennia, it was for the ultimate objective of defeating the Legion. I am grateful that he mentions how they did fight alongside one another during the War of the Ancients, but there was no mention of how much Illidan had sacrificed, no statement thanking Illidan for his devotion to trying to save Azeroth and stop the Legion. It just seemed very cold and robotic when you take into the fact that they have been brothers for so long. I feel like it was missing something to it, and I feel like Malfurion could have said a lot more. Illidan was imprisoned, killed, and now sacrifices himself, and after all this is all that you have to say? I'm pretty sure R2-D2 has more personality in his boops and beeps than Malfurion has in his whole entire body. I mean, I'm glad that they got at least some sort of dialogue between each other, but damn man, Malfurion could have at least said something more emotional, more human even. Illidan, on the other hand, had a great piece of dialogue. He highlighted the struggle and waning relationship that he had with his brother over time. Recognized that even though he and his brother chose different paths, very different paths, they each made the right choice, respectively. And despite everything that they have endured, they are still brothers to the end. He even goes on to sort of imply that Malfurion will play a pretty significant role in perhaps the threat with the Void, saying that he could instill his trust in no one better, which makes sense considering that Malfurion does have a lot of experience with the Nightmare and Xavius, so it might be more than possible that Malfurion will have a huge role in the coming wars with the Void, possibly alongside many other characters, like how it was in Legion. It's a damn shame though that Illidan won't be there to aid his brother, but at least we have some interaction between the Demon Hunter and the Druid, whereas in the Burning Crusade, we had absolutely none. The next tidbit of the conversation will now cover his message with Tyrande, and once again, I have to say that Illidan's piece of the conversation is really brilliant and really moving and awesome in this particular part.
Tyrande, long ago, you trusted me enough to defy Malfurion's wishes and free me from my prison. But over time, that faith was lost. And like my brother, you came to believe that the choices I made had driven me to darkness. Know that every path I took led toward a single purpose: saving our world. I could abide no half measures, no compromise. At those times when I faced doubt, I held true to one constant, one anchor. You have always embodied the best of Azeroth, Tyrande. Your faith, your devotion, through the darkest times, my belief in you never wavered. My fate, my duty, are now clear to me. I leave Azeroth's defense to you and to my brother. Take care of him, Tyrande. Though at times I wished your heart had made a different choice, in the end, I know it made the right one.
Contrite words. Yet I must wonder whether he truly meant them. After Illidan faced defeat atop the Black Temple, I tried to let go of my feelings, my distrust and bitterness. When I learned that he was alive, leading the fight against the Legion on the Broken Shore, I could not bring myself to speak to him. The time for talk has passed. Seems he has a duty to fulfill, as do we.
Again, I'm really glad that they got a chance at some interaction, even if it is indirect, but I wish she said a little bit more, maybe going into how she understands the hardships of the path that he took, and although it was an unorthodox one, it was still nonetheless a very necessary one. They used to have pretty deep interactions with each other in the War of the Ancients novels, and also in Warcraft 3, so I am a bit disappointed that Tyrande's response didn't really have more closure to it. Illidan though, man, his dialogue is absolutely astounding and amazing. Whoever made this dialogue truly has love for the story. With that final line, it's just so... words escape me. I don't even know, man. It just makes you feel like, damn, why did poor Illidan have to go through life like this? Wasn't his life hard enough by taking on the path of the Demon Hunter? Knowing he loved a woman who he knew would never love him in the same way, but also recognizing that it was the right decision on her part for doing so. It definitely shows how much his character has developed throughout the time and throughout years. He went from the War of the Ancients and speaking with Tyrande and trying to persuade her to be with him and not Malfurion, and flat out raging in her face to the point of where Broxigar was actually concerned that he might hurt her, which of course we know that he most likely would never do. He went from that to recognizing that Malfurion truly was his brother and that Tyrande made the correct choice in choosing him instead of Illidan. The only thing that I find odd here is that
when I learned that he was alive, leading the fight against the Legion on the Broken Shore.
Now I find this strange because she was in the Nighthold when Illidan returned, so I'm not exactly sure about that part right there with the Broken Shore, but I guess the part where she said that I couldn't bring myself to speak with him, that at least does cover the reason as to why she doesn't talk to him directly throughout the expansion and why this is the only type bit of interaction that we get. Well, that and the fact that Blizzard just decided not to give them any interaction whatsoever directly. Which is more than I could say about the Burning Crusade and more than I could say about Malfurion's response to Illidan's message. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it to the video. There won't be a direct interaction between the three, but we will have something more than what we had in the Burning Crusade. What do you guys think? Was this satisfactory in your eyes, or do you want more? I wanted perhaps a little bit more, something throughout the entirety of the expansion, at least something when Illidan came back to us in the Nighthold, but seeing as to how we didn't really get too much of that, and seeing as to how this is the only thing that we're going to get out of the interaction between the three of them, I say that at least it's better than nothing, more than you can say for what happened in the Burning Crusade. But that's pretty much it to this video guys. Once again, make sure you hit the notification bell next to the sub button so you can stay caught up with the channel. And once again guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you all later.